All right, the next term is social contract. And social contract is the idea that citizens give up the total freedom to do whatever they want, whenever they want, so that they can live in an organized society with rules that will protect their natural rights. So you're responsible for coming up with one written example and drawing one picture with at least three details here. So a social contract is when citizens choose to give up total freedoms. That is not to suggest that citizens are giving away all of their freedoms, but they're putting some limitations on themselves. They're agreeing to live under some rules, which inherently restrict some of their actions. But they're doing so because they have the peace of knowing everyone else around them also is supposed to be abiding by those rules too. So in my little picture that I gave here as a sample, these are the citizens who live within a community. And they got together to write this contract, to agree upon this contract. And here you can see all these little people, the blue man, the green man, the purple man, the pink man, and the red man, they've all signed the contract saying, yes, we agree. Number one, we're going to respect each other's property. And there's this little kid's like, yeah, that's great, because now my baseball or my basketball is going to be safe. No one's going to take my toy away. They've agreed that they are not going to engage in distracted driving because that could harm somebody's right to life, right? If we're checking out our phones while we're driving, we could get in an accident, hurt someone. And this third one is absurd. I always use this as an example of if you were to imagine that you landed on somehow a deserted island, a state of nature with Mrs. Weber, how scared would you be to find out that one of Mrs. Weber's lifelong passions, something she loves to do, is to go around shooting a gun blindfolded? Well, pretty quickly on that deserted island where there are no rules, where we're living in a state of nature, my guess is the community would want to put a stop to that behavior, right? They want to feel safe at night knowing that they can walk around the island without being shot at by Mrs. Weber, who's wearing a blindfold and shooting guns. So they agree, we're gonna limit that. And this little pink person, I guess that would represent me in this scenario, is like, okay, fine, I guess I can agree to that because I know that everybody else here is agreeing they won't shoot their gun blindfolded too. So in order to protect these natural rights, we agree and we create these rules for ourselves. We give government the power to make these rules, or we make these rules ourselves so that we can be safe. So this is the idea of social contract. A lot of times when students draw their pictures for social contract, they just draw the contract, right? They draw a scroll with rules on it or with writing on it and say, this is the social contract. And I'd say, go a little further with that. In order to make sure you're getting your three symbols, tell me what are the rules going to, restrict, or who made the rules, or what is the purpose of making these rules? What do they hope to achieve by having these rules? Okay? And then your written example down here is really simple. It's asking you to kind of go back to your natural rights questions. What are some of the rules that you know are in place that help protect your right to life, or your right to freedom, or your right to property? So what are actions that other citizens can't take because it might violate your right to life? I gave an example in mine, driving while distracted. It's not okay for us to drive around distracted because we could get in a car accident and hurt other people. Give me a rule like that. Or what's a rule that guarantees that your right to property is safe? How do you know that your home is not going to get broken into at night? What is a law that we have in our society that protects your natural right to property? So come up with any example. Pretty much any law that's out there is about trying to protect your natural rights. Just give me an example of one. That's it for social contract.